Naveen here, and welcome back to today's episode. After my last video, I felt like I needed to come back and explain something. Um, at the end of 2025 or early 2026, I don't remember which, I made a big decision, and it was a necessary one for me to take a full year to myself. Not a month, not a season, not even half a year, but a full year. Because what I lost and what I was grieving, have been grieving, is very big for me. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it wasn't. I'm not going to rush through something that deserves its proper time and space. You have a decade of love lost overnight. That's not something you just get over. So I wanted to talk about that today, and I'm going to do my dishes in the process, so let's get to it. In my last video, when I said that I was taking a year to heal, it really stayed with some people. A full year for myself. Not to date, not to force myself to move on, not to rush into becoming some shiny, healed version of myself overnight. Just a year for me. A year to heal, a year to rebuild, a year to figure out who I even am on this other side of things. And someone commented, and honestly, I appreciated them engaging. I really did. But they said a couple of months is understandable, but a whole year is too long. And I've been thinking about that comment ever since. Not because it offended me, because it didn't, but because I think it says something much bigger about the way people view grief, especially when it comes to Black people. There's this unspoken pressure to recover quickly, to bounce back quickly, to make everybody else comfortable more quickly. We have timelines for everything now. 30 days to get over a job loss, 90 days to get over a breakup, 6 months before you should put yourself back out there. I say a year and suddenly people act like you're being dramatic or indulgent or you're stuck. And I think that mindset is honestly one of the cruelest things we've normalized. Because healing is not a performance. Grief is not a product Because healing is not a performance. Grief is not a productivity contest. And love, real love, leaves a mark. I just didn't lose love though. I lost my best friend, I lost my travel partner, I lost over a decade of shared life, shared routines, shared memories, shared language, shared dreams. I lost the person I called first, the person who knew my side eye without me having to explain it, the person who could tell from one text message whether I was okay or not. Do you know how intimate that is? To be so deeply known by someone for so many years? And then one day that person is just gone from your daily life? People act like grief is only about missing someone emotionally, but really, grief is logistical too. It's spiritual, it's identity shattering too. Because suddenly the life you built your nervous system around disappears, and I don't think people talk about that part. Nobody talks about how quiet the mornings feel when you no longer get those early AM calls. Nobody talks about the first time something funny happens and you instinctively reach for your phone to text them and then remember, oh, I can't do that. Nobody talks about how grief sneaks up on you in completely ordinary moments. You pass by your favorite restaurant together. You hear a specific song that you guys both liked. A TV show, a certain smell, a stupid inside joke no one else would even understand. And suddenly your chest tightens out of nowhere. That grief, that just crying dramatically on the floor. No. That's grief. It's not just crying dramatically on the floor. It's the 1,000 tiny absences every single day. And I think people underestimate how long it takes to rebuild yourself after that. Especially when you're older. Because when you're young, people almost expect instability. They expect relationships to come and go over and over. But when you spent years, over a decade, building a life with someone, your lives become intertwined in ways that are impossible to explain to people who haven't lived it. Your habits intertwine, your routines intertwine, your futures intertwine, even your sense of self intertwines. So when that relationship ends, you are not just grieving the person, you are grieving the version of yourself that existed with them. And that takes time, like real time, not Instagram quote time, not hot girl era time, actual deep rebuilding. And I'm going to tell you something that people don't say out loud. Some people rush because they are terrified to sit with themselves. They will jump into another relationship immediately, another situationship, another distraction, another dopamine hit, another person to fill the silence. Not because they're healed, but because they're avoiding admitting they need healing. And I knew I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to drag unresolved grief into another relationship. I didn't want to become emotionally dependent on someone else just to avoid that loneliness. I didn't want to skip over myself. And honestly, for the first time in my adult life, I think I deserve my own attention. That realization alone has been humongous for me. Because women, especially women my age, we are conditioned to constantly pour into other people, into partners, jobs, families, friends, and everybody else. We are the caretakers for everyone around us, and somewhere along the way, a lot of us lost touch with ourselves completely. What do I actually like? What do I want? What makes me feel calm and peaceful? What kind of life do I want now? Not the life I built around someone else, mine. What about me? And that is part of what this year is about for me. It's not punishment, it's not isolation, it's not me giving up, it's me reconnecting with myself. So, what does that actually look like? What does this year look like for me? Because it's not just rest and relaxation. It's not candles and journaling and soft music. Ooh, well, okay, it might be some of that, but it's real work, actual work. I'm looking at going back to school for an MBA, maybe. I know the timing may not be right. Financially, it might not be right, but it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I've made a couple of attempts before, but now I found a program that would only be a year and I can do it in 12 months, so that would be cool. I don't know if it's going to happen exactly, but I'm looking at it seriously, and that alone feels like something. I'm working on currently landing a new job because the next stage of my life has a price tag on it and I need to be able to pay for it. It's nothing dramatic, it's just the reality of the world I'm living in. And my current job ends in a week. And the last thing, well, not the last thing, but the biggest thing I'm working on is trying to make a final decision about whether I'm leaving New York, where I'm going, when I'm going, what that actually looks like for me, because I've been dancing around that conversation for a long time, and this is the year I stop dancing. Partner or no partner. There are other things on the pile too, things I'm still sitting with. I'll share them at some point when the time is right, but they're getting worked on too. Trust that. But this is what my year of healing looks like. It's not a pause on life, it's me actively rebuilding it one decision at a time. And honestly, I think society gets uncomfortable when women stop performing resilience. I talked about it in my last video about tired of being strong. This is not me not being strong. This is me choosing a different kind of strength. People love a woman who suffers quietly and then immediately appears polished and smiling and happy. But taking a year to say, hey, no, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to feel this fully. No, I'm not going to rush for anyone's comfort. That makes people uncomfortable because boundaries make people uncomfortable. Self-prioritization makes people uncomfortable. Simple as that. Especially from women who were taught to constantly accommodate everybody else. And let me be clear, healing for me does not mean I'm miserable. It doesn't mean life stops. I'm still laughing, I'm still working, I still create, I still enjoy beautiful moments. I make jokes with people and I have a good time. I have a good life. But underneath all of that, there is deep internal work that is happening. I'm rebuilding my confidence, my nervous system, my routines, my identity, my relationship with me. And that deserves patience. And honestly, I think more people would benefit from slowing down after a major loss instead of rushing to appear okay. What I want on the other side of this is to not just be recovered. I want to be whole. I want to be grounded. I want to trust myself again. I want to know that I can fully stand on my own emotionally. And that kind of healing, that takes time. A year for me is compassionate, it's intentional, and it's taking myself seriously. And the version of me that comes out on the other side of this is going to be rock solid because I didn't rush it, because I took the time to properly process what had happened, this trauma that happened. And I took steps to move forward, but only for myself, not for someone else. So if you're in a healing season right now, whether it's grief from heartbreak, from divorce, from losing a great job, losing a friend, whatever it is, go through that. And if somebody is putting a timer on you, ignore them and let them know I'm going to deal with this in my own time. Please remember that people who are uncomfortable with your healing process are probably uncomfortable with their own emotions too. And remember that you do not need anybody's permission to take your healing seriously. You don't owe them a rushed recovery. You don't owe anyone emotional convenience. You set your own clock, and that is enough.